Hi everyone, Olivia Reiner here for Packers News, joined by Ryan Wood, and we are here way after the game. Thank you very much for your patience. We appreciate it. There are things such as deadlines and other responsibilities that must be accounted for, so that is just the way the cookie crumbled tonight. So thank you for waiting for us. We appreciate it, but I'm sure you still have a lot on your mind. We still have a lot on our minds that we'd like to share with you, so we come to you live from the bowels of MetLife Stadium. I will be keeping my eyes peeled for a black cat. I was really hoping to see a black cat out on the field today.
Because
no
Mets?
dice.
Because Mets?
Because that's the few weeks ago. There was a cat that ran out onto the field here.
I'm sorry. You mentioned black cat to me in New York City, and you're just asking me to start talking about the Mets. So Packers.
I've never asked you to start talking about the Mets, Ryan.
You are. You are.
Yes.
Packers, yeah, they won today.
31-13. There's something very satisfying about a palindrome score, isn't there? Or is that just me?
Is that what?
31-13, back and forth.
Oh.
Hello.
She's using big words.
Hello.
I don't know.
Hello. Hey.
Who's the writer?
Very fun. Very
Not me.
fun.
So, yeah,
Fun score, less fun game.
Don't ask me what to take out of this, because the Packers beat the Giants because they're a lot better than the Giants. Or I guess the other way to put it is that the Giants lost to the Packers because they're a lot worse than the Packers. This was Auburn playing Alcorn State, NFL style. This was a good team versus a bad team, and this is what happens when good versus bad. I mean, it's really as simple as that. I thought the big part about today was the whole game turned on 3 interceptions from Daniel Jones, who, like a rookie quarterback, threw the defense 3 times. And the Packers caught the football. That's the best thing they did today. They caught the football. And because of that, they had fewer yards. They gave up long drives. They had 3 drives defensively that they allowed that were double digits in plays, 3 scoring drives. Only one of them was a touchdown. They kind of just did what they did. I mean, it was kind of their blueprint, if you will, but it was easy because they were playing a rookie quarterback, and the Giants just aren't any good.
Yeah, I think a lot of the same issues that the Packers, especially the defense, has struggled with all season were still there in this loss. I mean, it wasn't as magnified because, after all, they were playing the Giants, but some of those struggles were still there. The defense still gave up way too many yards. Net yards, New York finished with 335, Green Bay 322.
Exactly, 13 more yards.
How can that happen? The big factor here is that the Giants went, I believe, 1 for 3 in the red zone, which, hey, bend but don't break. But against the Giants, really? Is that the best you can do?
This defense is what it is. It's what it's going to be. I don't see it changing. It's week 14 now. It's not going to change. They rely on their red zone defense, which has been very good. They're going to give up yards. And the goal, and really the difference maker week in, week out, is getting after the quarterback and causing turnovers, causing the quarterback to make mistakes. They were able to do that with the rookie. You do have to wonder, though, in January, there are no Daniel Joneses waiting in January. They're playing elite quarterbacks next month. Can they do it then? That's the big question, and today did not answer that.
All right. I know there was a win that happened today. We're sounding maybe a little bit negative. There was some good that can be taken.
Negative, just it is what it is.
It's realistic, right?
Yeah.
So let's head over to the Facebook chat right now. Hello, guys. Thank you for waiting up for us. Lovely to see you all. Let's start with Jay and Joe. Joe says special teams were much better. Jay said, did we have positive return yards, with a little gasping? I guess that's not an emoji. It's a little face. 3
longest punt return of the season.
Positive return yards.
It happened
Traymon
tonight.
Smith. Holy cow.
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd ever see the day.
They're at -8 on the year, though.
All right, digging out of
Not
the
to
hole.
be Debbie Downer here.
Slowly but surely.
Don't
call me Shirley.
There you go. Very nice. It's remarkable that it was only the second time this season, second time in, 12 games, that they've had a punt return gain yardage. That's just unbelievable. And it was 3, That's the longest.
Mind-blowing.
By the way, the only other one was Trevor Davis back in the opener when it was warm and we weren't wearing coats and hats and freezing. So it's been a minute. And that one was only 1 yard, if you're curious.
Yeah, well.
That's it. That's the positives from the Packers punt return unit.
Quite literally the positives. Okay, we've got Jason asking, did the new tackle, Jared Beldier, see any playing time? I don't believe he was technically active, was he? So, no, he wasn't. He is not yet on the 53 yet.
He's still exempt.
He's exempt because he is a veteran, or excuse me, he is a retired player.
Yes.
So he was not active for the game. He's not even technically on the roster just yet.
But he was at the stadium.
There.
He was there.
So, saw him. Yeah. So
I did too.
That is that. But also worth noting, Brian Belaga played, at least from what I saw, he played every single snap that he was out there. Listen, the Giants' pass rush is not other pass rushes that the Packers have faced this season. However, it was a slick game out there.
Very.
I'm sure it was not easy.
It was an ice rink
to play just in general. So hats off to him for playing.
Well, he said that his knee felt just fine. I didn't notice him one bit, which is really good news for him because I just didn't notice Brian Belaga today. So that he played well. I walked across the field on the way to the locker room, at me and Tom Silverstein both, because it's literally on the opposite side of the stadium and we're trying to cut time. And granted, I didn't have cleats, but I was like, don't fall, don't look stupid. It was really, really slippery, and I can't remember. I was talking to some of the players in the locker room. I can't remember the last time I saw snow on field turf, because most stadiums in the NFL, if it's field turf, it's indoors. It's very rare to see field turf outdoors in a cold weather environment in snow. That doesn't happen very often. So it was a big part of this game, and it was not the best surface to be playing on.
Robert says, "Hey, hurry back to Wisconsin to enjoy some more snow." Thanks for the
warm
welcome. I've had way too much snow. Mike asking if Aaron Jones is hurt. Aaron Jones did leave the game early. He was in the blue medical tent for a while in the first quarter, and then he came back out onto the sideline, and he didn't leave, and he stayed there. I do wonder exactly what happened to Aaron Jones. He became a non-factor in the offense yet again after last week, where he pretty much had no impact. But through the air, on the ground, was not a day for Aaron Jones. However, he had some teammates bail him out offensively. There were some others, like Alan Lazard, who contributed, who had a career day.
Davante Adams
As well.
Found the end zone twice. All of a sudden back to being a touchdown machine again. It took 11 weeks, but he's there. And then, hey, Mercedes Lewis caught a touchdown. Big dog. The big dog did. I talked with Mercedes Lewis after the game, and he was happy. I mean, him and Aaron Rodgers have become real close in this team. They're two veterans that have played an eternity of football combined, and they click on that level. And you saw how excited Aaron Rodgers was. Mercedes Lewis wasn't jumping up and down, but he was. It was meaningful to him, so that was cool.
So we have a question here from Mike. He wants to know, is Alan Lazard officially the number 2 wide receiver? I hesitate to use numbers when it comes to the receiving core, except for Davante Adams. I think he will always be the clear number 1. However, Matt LaFleur has been pretty adamant that the purpose of this offense is not to single a guy out necessarily besides Davante Adams. I think it's more about getting guys into scenarios where they're going to win their matchups, and if they do win their matchups, get the ball out to them. That's how it's been going. It's been kind of variable over the last few weeks who's been getting the ball. I mean, offensive production just in general from the receivers has been down since Davante Adams returned, but today it happened to be Lazard.
And that's why I hesitate to use the word official, because I think it's a very fluid depth chart behind the obvious, behind Davante Adams. I think it's very fluid. You know who was big today? Didn't look like it as much he didn't have 100 yards, but Geronimo Allison. Mm-hmm. That 4th and 10 catch. I mean,
play of the game.
He showed up. He made a couple plays today, and that was big. Alan Lazard kind of reminded me of the Packers secondary. Like, the best thing he did was catch the ball, because the Giants busted on a couple of those coverages, and you still, hey, that's not his fault. You got to catch the ball when it comes to you, no matter how wide open you are, and he did. So, just like you got to pick up off the ball, no matter how directly thrown to you it is, and that's what the Packers defense did. So,
were you in on Aaron Rodgers' press conference after the game? Okay, so this is tough for us to answer, Fred. Any truth to the story that Rodgers hadn't realized he threw and completed a touchdown to Mercedes Lewis? I don't know about that. I don't know where you got that story, Fred, but Mercedes Lewis did talk about the touchdown after the game in the locker room and said that he knew that Aaron Rodgers was going to get the pass out. It wasn't a shock to him. He's like, 12's got this, more or less. The soundbite, I actually clipped that, and it's over on the, oh, God, goodbye, the rest of the packet. The
It went down there.
The soundbite is over on PackersNews.com if you guys want to hear it. He talked a little bit about how that play came about, how they had practiced it during the week, and how he was confident that he knew Aaron Rodgers, despite feeling some pressure, was going to get the ball out to him.
He knew that he hadn't thrown a touchdown to Mercedes Lewis yet. That was not a surprise on him, and he was pretty happy about it.
Yes. Let's see what else we got from you guys. There's a lot of you. Thank you for being here with us.
Can you believe this team's 9-3? I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah.
That's
we always seem to
pretty remarkable.
Toy around with that on these live streams after
Pretty remarkable, Olivia.
games.
9-3.
Yes. So we've got Todd here saying that J.K. Scott wasn't too bad today. I would happen to agree. I think J.K. Scott got back into a rhythm today. Gosh, the rest of my sheet is on the floor. If you can give me a moment.
46.5 yards on 3 punts.
Thank you for.
I do
is that
something.
the average there?
Yeah.
Okay, so that average, I did look this up. I think is his 5th highest of the season.
Well, it was over 40.
Solid.
Which the last 4 games were not.
No.
So if that's the line of demarcation, he was on the right side and not the bad side. So he looked to me like a punter who was busting out of a slump. Talked to him this week. He talked about how he was trying to lower his drop again, which kind of aided the driving of the football instead of having a high drop for hang time. It's something he's been tinkering with just technically. It's such a technical position. He's been focusing on it a lot. He looked a lot better. That last punt that he had where just died on the 6, that's a punter that's feeling pretty good right there.
Oh, yeah. All right. We interrupt this show so I can go down and fetch my packet of stats and information here. Yeah, so 46.7 was the average.
7. I was off by 0.2.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll give it to you. Mark says the Packers' offense and defense was complimentary today. I would say so. I still think that the defense could have shown up a little bit more to slow down the Giants' offense that admittedly has been struggling as of late. Complimentary, I think it might be the closest to seeing complimentary football on all 3 phases. I think Devontae Adams in the locker room said that. Tramon Williams said that the defense probably could have done a little bit more toward later in the game, but, a win's a win, I suppose.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. It's easy to do against a terrible team. It's hard to do against a good team. And they did it. Absolutely, they did it today against a terrible team. The Giants are terrible. They've got to do it against much better competition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I got really distracted. Our friend Eric Baranchik asked if we got a slice of pizza after the game. Was there pizza?
No, not after the game.
I was going to say, did I miss pizza? Hello?
It's about the only thing I haven't done. No, I take it back. First night here, I did have pizza.
Todd says, Earth to Scantling, come in, please. Marquez Valdez-Scantling has, I think, 2 catches in the last, how many games? Since Kansas
5
City,
weeks?
right? Yeah. Math?
Something like that.
It's been a while, and he had an opportunity in the end zone today. Granted, it was a pretty contested catch.
It was contested, yeah.
Hit his fingertips.
They took a chance at it,
Yeah, but besides that, I think he had 2 targets on the day, no receptions whatsoever. It's been an interesting season for him. I know he had an injury earlier on, and since then, he just hasn't seemed to play any sort of significant role in this offense.
Yeah, I mean, he's not right. There's no way that he's 100%. I can't imagine that he is. So, it's something he's working through. Today, they were able to get a lot of other contributors. We've mentioned we mentioned Mercedes Lewis with the touchdown, Devontae Adams, Geronimo Allison.
Alan Lazard,
obviously 100 yards. They had kind of a committee today, and if they can continue that, no matter who the names are, that's huge for this offense. Again, though, if you can't tell, I'm just taking everything with a grain of salt.
Sure.
It was against a really terrible team. It's easy to play well against a terrible team. And the Packers can say, well, the Giants had all these one-possession games in the fourth quarter so many times, yada, yada, yada. That's fine. The bottom line is that they're 2-10 and that they've lost 8 straight games. They are terrible. And they beat up on a terrible team today.
Yeah. Pivot to a very difficult topic to talk about here. Robin asked if we talked to Mason Crosby today. He did talk after the game in the locker room, and if you're interested in hearing that, also go over to PackersNews.com. He spoke to the media about his sister-in-law, Brittany, who passed away, lost her battle to cancer, which is, terrible.
Yeah.
The fact that he had the strength to even go out there and play this game today is mind-blowing. I will never understand athletes and how they function, how their brains work. I try to understand athletes. I think that's my job, but the fact that he was able to be a rock for this team out there and his team back home too. I mean, it's incredibly impressive.
And he was really good today. That 47-yarder.
Oh, yeah.
It would have been good from 55 in the snow. He was really good today, so it was impressive.
Yeah, a lot of respect for him, for sure. Andrew gives credit to the run defense. Good showing in tough weather. It's true. Yeah, I mean, Saquon Barkley, he's just been off since his high ankle sprain earlier this season. 19 attempts for 83 yards. It's probably one of his better games recently. But still, I mean,
4.3 yards per carry.
Yeah.
You'll take that if you're the Packers.
It is.
Absolutely.
Speaking of run defense, Tyler Lancaster left the game early with I believe it was a neck injury, which is what they said. I caught up with him after the game in the locker room. He says it's a stinger, and he should be okay. He's going to hear a little bit more tomorrow when they get back to Green Bay, but he's optimistic was what he said.
I do think on both sides the field played a big factor in the run game and limiting the run game for both teams. Even the Giants. I mean, Saquon didn't have any long runs as long as it was 16. On that track, they weren't hitting home runs. So, Brian Belaga and David Bakhtiari actually switched cleats at halftime. Mm-hmm. It went from misting about an hour before the game to that snow. Like it turned on like that. Like out of nowhere, it's snowing, and then the field's white, and then it turns into slush, and then it rains on top of it. Yep. And it's field turf, which is not, every player is a little different, but most players will say that they'd prefer grass. So, not ideal.
No.
It was really bad conditions out there. I think the Packers offensive line did really good at forming a pocket, giving Aaron Rodgers a lot of time. Their pass sets were fine. Really, really good time in the pass game. Couldn't really dig in the run game much, and you saw it on both sides.
Yeah, I think the run game can be attributed to that. But Dan also asks, how predictable has the Packers' run game become? Opposing teams know exactly what they're getting out of the Packers' run game. They know that this offense is truly based in Aaron Jones and how well he can play. Today proved that the Packers can survive and even win without Aaron Jones and him being a factor in the offense. But that being said, they know what they're getting in Aaron Jones. Jamal Williams also brings something to the table, not to discount him at all, but they know Aaron Jones is the number one threat.
Yeah, and that's what it's going to be like every game here on out. Today it was enough because primarily they're playing a terrible team. Yeah. So that they didn't need Aaron Jones to go off today. They're going to need him in the playoffs. They're going to need Aaron Jones doing Aaron Jones things in the playoffs.
Well, next week, unfortunately, maybe for the Packers, I don't know if this is an unfortunate thing, but next week's game against Washington won't be much more of a challenge. So that's that. I think they're 14.5-point favorites.
10-3, here they come, although Washington did beat Carolina today.
Wow.
Some crazy scores in the
And
NFL.
the Bengals beat the Jets?
And the Dolphins were beating the Eagles, I think?
They did beat the Eagles, yes.
Yeah,
what a wacky game in the wacky week in the NFL.
But today was not weird. Today was everything you expected. 31 for the for the good team, 13 for the bad team. Good versus bad, this is what happens.
Yeah, I think the Packers will take middling tonight compared to
the Packers
the
weren't
last
even
couple of games.
They weren't even that good. It's just they are way more than the Giants could handle. Yeah. Way more than they can handle.
For
sure. They're not in the same. They're in the same conference, but only on paper.
All right, guys. We're not super high on a very not that high victory, I would say. I think is the
They took care
recap.
of business.
They did what they needed to do.
They'll do it next week.
10-3,
here they come. Mark it down.
And thank you for doing what you needed to do, which was come join us and follow along with PackersNews.com for all of your Packers coverage. That was not a very slick transition, but please forgive me.
I'm applauding on the inside.
Also, make sure you're checking out all of our social channels, Packers News, all across the board. Make sure you're following us for more updates. We will be back in Green Bay for 2 weeks until we head back out on the road for what should be a very challenging game, very exciting a game against the Minnesota Vikings. And then to Detroit, and gosh, we're almost done. Holy cow, almost done with the regular season. Yeah, and then there's the postseason.
How long they go after that, nobody knows.
Yes, we'll find out. We will be along with you guys for the rest of the way, of course. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining